Here's the formula for success and the formula for failure. Here's the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day. Why would we repeat an error in judgment another day? Here's why. Disaster doesn't usually fall on you at the end of that first day. If you suffer dire, disastrous consequences the first day of mistakes, see, we would quickly change. I mean, overnight, we'd be burning the midnight oil, how to avoid and change it all so that these disasters don't happen again. But failure is subtle. Failure just takes you down the road you really don't want to go, but it doesn't seem like the consequences are going to be severe at the end of the first day, at the end of the first week. But you can't let yourself get faked out. The guy says, I've been eating junk food for 30 days and look how healthy I am. See, he's faked out. He's misguided. You know, he doesn't understand. You can't judge just after 30 days. I remember once I was talking to the kids about, judging whether something is, right or wrong, to do it or not to do it. And I had a candle, and I lit this candle, and I said to the kids, I've heard that if I put my finger in this flame, this fire of the candle, that it will burn my finger. And the kids said, yes, it will. If you put your finger in this flame from the candle, it will burn your finger. I said, well, I don't really know, but I'm willing to try it. So I stuck my finger in the candle flame like this, and I said, my finger appears to be okay. And I did it again, pulled it out, and I said, my finger appears to be okay. And they all said, no, Mr. Rohn. You can't judge whether or not the flame will burn your finger just by going like this. You've got to leave your finger in there just a little longer. I got the message. And they got the message. You can't eat junk food for a month and say, look how strong I am. Because already you have started down the wrong road, but at first the consequences aren't disastrous. Your whole life isn't upside down. You haven't ruined your whole life and you're going to have a heart attack at the end of 30 days, no. But subtly, month by month, and a little more experience eating junk food, and sure enough, now the consequences would start to show. So here's what wisdom is: trying to learn early the consequences of errors in judgment, poor behavior, poor language, and then try to learn from others that have gone down a disastrous road, and sure enough, they suffered the consequences, and you say, wow, then I'm going to change direction because I don't want those consequences. That's called being doubly smart. Doubly smart, learning from errors in judgment. Now, here's the secret to success. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now you're on the road to success. A few errors in judgment repeated. It's easy to repeat. But a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and you can turn anything around. Once you see that you're suffering either early consequences or severe consequences, all you have to do now is shut down that route, pick another destination and start going that way with some easy disciplines that day by day gather momentum, and now one success leads to another, leads to another. Here's what we call that: disciplines. Easy disciplines. And then remember this in your personal development quest: all disciplines affect each other. Every discipline affects the rest. Every lack of discipline affects the rest. Every discipline you neglect affects the rest. What's interesting about success is starting a new discipline, a couple of new disciplines, and sure enough, once you've gained just a little bit of success in a couple of new disciplines, it'll inspire you to clean up the rest. It'll inspire you to fine-tune all of your other disciplines. Each new affects the rest. Each lack of discipline affects the rest. So starting on this journey of new disciplines, solving problems, going from errors in judgment to easy disciplines that can change it all. And if you start that journey, it doesn't take long for new signs of success to appear. I got such great results that first year that I made these incredible changes, learning extra skills, putting together extra disciplines, working harder on myself than on my job. The early success, the early signs of the fact that I was going to arrive at a more positive destination, I was hooked. It didn't take but a few months, less than a year, and I was hooked for life. Wow. I ask you to start that same journey. Let your new skills, new disciplines affect all of the rest and inspire you to never cease this quest for refinement of first philosophy, then activity, to make your life better. The ultimate essence of life is not a Ferrari. The ultimate essence is not a bank account. It's not $1 million. It's not being rich or wealthy. Here's the ultimate essence of life: living a good life. Even if you're a person of modest means and modest circumstances, you can really, if you wish, go to work on the refinement of your lifestyle so that you can, even with modest means, live a good life. So what are the keys to living a good life? Here's number one: productivity. You really won't be happy if you don't produce. 6/7 of our life was to be devoted to labor and work, to produce a work of art, to produce a crop of corn, to produce a good family, to produce an enterprise. That's the essence of life in its best form. First is to be a producer. What is the reason for the seed and the soil and the sunshine and the rain and the seasons of life and its miracle? What's the reason for all of that? Here it is in a nutshell for your notes: to see what you can do with it. What's the reason for the economy that's one of the best in the world that we've created in America? The answer is to see what you could do with it. We've got books to read, and we've got classes to attend, and we've got, things to do and things to learn. And if you put it all together, you can have not only your health, but your fortune. Why not see what you can do with what you've been handed? As basic as seed and soil and sunshine and rain. Here's what all of us have: the miracle, and it's almost godlike in its potential: the ability to recreate. Only God can create the seed, the soil, the sunshine, the rain, the seasons, the miracle of life. But here's what humans can do: recreate those components into a harvest. By planting the seed, carefully taking care of it in the summer, reaping the rewards in the harvest. We call that recreation. We can't make a tree, but we can use the tree for wood to build a house, shelter for our family. It's called recreation. It's godlike in terms of potential. To recreate, to take your hours and your energy and your life and a bit of skill and actually recreate a career, a future, possibilities, fortune. Recreate. The key is to use it. And you won't be happy if you aren't really extending yourself. Because here's really the goal of the human adventure: the full development of all your potential. That's the goal, the full development of all your potential. Why not see how far you can go, how much you can earn, how much you can share, how much you can give? Why not see what all you could be, what you could become? That's why at my age I'm still working, traveling the world, doing what I've done for all these years, is to see what else I can become. How much stronger could I become? How much wiser could I be in delivering my message? How much more refined could I be in my working with business partners and all the rest? Why not go for that ultimate challenge? On and on, as far as you can. Take it as far as you can. So number one, living a good life, productivity. Here's number two: good friends. Friendship is one of the greatest support systems in the world. Nourish it, protect it, look after it, develop it to the best of your ability. Friends are those wonderful people who know all about you and still like you, right? got to have those. Next is your heritage. Keep your heritage alive. That's what's made America great, is a combination of a variety of heritages from all over the world. For the last 200-300 years, 300-400 years, people have been coming from all the countries of the world to America, bringing with them their gifts. Gift of language, gift of business ethics, gift of government, gift of music, gift of poetry, gift of the work ethic. These gifts were not here, they were brought here. No country has become such a depository of the gifts of the world like America has the last 300-400 years. People coming, bringing gifts. People coming, bringing gifts. And here's one of the greatest gifts you have to bring: your heritage. Customs and costume and style, poetry, language, ways, recipes, music. Keep that alive. Don't pass on the ceremonies that come from your heritage. Keep those alive. That's what makes us great. Now, I love to go back where these gifts came from. I'll go back to Italy. The last time I was in Rome, I had 1,000 people in my class. Someone said to whoever was going to introduce me, Jim Rohn loves the music of Andrea Bocelli, the blind opera singer from Italy. So when they introduced me and I walked out to the podium, all 1,000 of these Italians stood up and sang for me one of Andrea Bocelli's songs. It was extraordinary, in true Italian style. Tears and all the rest. So I told my grandchildren later when I got back home, here was the scene: a choir of 1,000 and an audience of 1. How about that? That's unique. But then that reminded me, this is where these gifts came from. The music, the dance, the wine, the ceremonies, the language that enriches us today. So be thankful for all of that and keep your heritage alive. Next is spirituality. We've already mentioned that. Study, practice, and teach. Next is something my parents taught that's lasted me until this day. Here it is. Don't miss anything. This is a major part of lifestyle. Shut off the television. Go look, go see, go do. Taste the wine, eat the food. Enjoy the people. Go to the movies. The best values you can pay for is to go see a movie. Costs what, $10? $100 million to make it and only $10 to see it. Wow. Don't miss the performance. Don't miss the songs. Don't miss the lyrics. Don't miss what's happening. Go look, go see, go do. The average American watches television 6.5 hours a day. That's too much time. Don't miss anything. No matter how small the occasion, go look, go see, go do. Experience life. When my father was 93 years old, before he died, if you would have called him at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, he wouldn't be home. He's at the rodeo. He's watching the kids play softball. He's at church. He's at the performance. He's somewhere every night, age 93. My parents not only taught it, but they lived it. So go look, go see, go do, go share. I was celebrating one evening with a lady who's another one of my claims to fame, Ann Geddes. Does that name ring a bell? Ann Geddes, this superstar photographer who takes pictures of little babies and all kinds of situations. She's now become very rich and very famous. But she started coming to my seminars in Australia about 27 years ago. And the seminars changed her life, and she's been grateful ever since. We were celebrating with her and her husband and my friend Terry in Auckland, New Zealand, after she had come back from New York and made her big show. And Terry had found a bottle of Chateau Yquem, one of the finest wines in the world. I know he paid at least $600 for this bottle of wine. And we're sharing this wine with the 4 of us, okay? And the 4 of us hoping no one that we knew would come by. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to let But if you would have come by, and if we would have allowed you to taste this wine, here's what you would have said. When you tasted this wine, you would have said, wow, I'll bet this wine costs $600 a bottle. That's what you would have said. Something inside of you. So make this note now, the genius is within all of us. It just needs to be exposed and developed and used. Something would have told you this is fine, even though you're not a wine connoisseur. This is fine. When you hear poetry, you say, wow, this is fine. The music, you say, this is fine music. Even though you're not a musician, something tells you inside. Now, if you miss all of that, if you don't go, hear, listen, see, then you're not tapping into this genius that can recognize something fine, whether it's the poetry of the Bible or the lyrics of a rock and roll song. Just don't miss it. Don't miss it. Elton John sings, she lived her life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. See, that's fine. You can't describe how fragile and brief life is much better than that. George Harrison used to sing when he was alive, if not for you, the winter would hold no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you. See, you can't miss that. And then you go hear it again and again and again. Let it nourish your soul and spirit. That's part of lifestyle.
Hello again, everyone. It's great to see you, and congratulations for making it this far in the series and completing Module 8. Earlier in the series, we heard Jim talk about the importance of setting goals. I hope a couple of the goals on your list were to become debt-free and financially independent. If those aren't on your goal list, I encourage you to add them. There's nothing like the sense of achievement and freedom that you feel when you're able to live from the income of your personally invested resources. Now, I can't promise that reaching these goals will be easy. In fact, I can almost guarantee it will be hard work. Look, most people are content to go through life blissfully unaware of their net worth or what their monthly expenses are or what their spending patterns are until that lack of awareness catches up to them and they're forced to deal with the consequences. I remember being 20 years old and stunned when my accountant informed me how much money I owed in taxes for the year. I hadn't set aside anywhere near enough to pay the bill, even though I'd earned much more than the amount that was due. My accountant told me that unless I made some massive changes, I would dig my own financial grave with my wallet. It was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, but it certainly grabbed my attention and caused me to make some serious changes in order to get my financial life back on track. So, what about you? I know you're not like most people because you're here, learning from this series of modules and taking control of your own personal development. But are you truly informed of where you stand financially? Do you have an accurate accounting of your assets? Do you know your monthly expenses? Do you have a plan? Are you allowing the winds to just take you in a direction that you don't want to go? It's never too late to reset your sail and take control of your financial future. But you must have a plan. Remember what Jim Rohn said. It doesn't matter what amount you start with, it's the plan that counts. So starting today, I want you to take personal responsibility for your own economy. Don't become another self-made victim. Instead, create a detailed financial plan. Resolve to get out of debt and begin building the foundations of a solid financial fortress that even the strongest winds can't destroy. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again right here next week.